All right, welcome to lesson 22. I'm calling it toggle button. And we're going to build this. Okay, so this is basically a giant button here. All right. So what I want you to do is copy this CSS up here. And then a little bit of HTML, just one little line here, button tag with ID button. And in here, it looks kind of confusing, but that's kind of a sad face in there, which is a colon slash, not slash, but dash, colon dash, open parenthesis. And then here's a little bit of script. Okay, so copy that down and we will continue writing some more JavaScript. Okay, so here we go. Let me just explain real quickly the JavaScript here. All we're doing in line 1 here, constant btn equals document get element by it. We're just grabbing the button and assigning it to a JavaScript variable. And then to that variable, we are adding an event listener because we want to listen for a button click, or I'm sorry, a mouse click. And then if we get a click, we're going to call a function called toggle state. Okay, and then we have one other variable called button state equals false. And you probably remember I talked about Boolean variables. They can be true or false, and they help us make decisions in code. Okay, so now we're going to call a function called toggle state, but I haven't written it yet, so let's do that. So function toggle state. Okay, the first thing we're going to do in our function is we're going to take whatever that button state is, and it starts off as false, and we're going to make it its opposite. Okay, and here's how we do that. We say button state equals not, exclamation mark is not, button state equals not button state. That's curious looking. It might look confusing, but all it's really doing is it's saying whatever button state was before, in this case false, make it the opposite, not button state. So it would be, if it was false, it would, not false is true. If it was true, not true is false. So make it the opposite. That's all we're doing there. Okay, and based on that, we're going to make a decision. We're going to use an if statement to make a decision. If button state equals, remember 2 equals sign, if button state equals true, then what are we going to do? Well, we're going to make it a happy face. So we're going to say btn inner text equals, in quotes, colon, dash, close parenthesis. That's our happy face. Okay, but we're also going to change the color just to make it more obvious. So we're going to say button style. Remember, we got to grab our, we have to tell JavaScript we're using CSS style. And we're going to say background. You know, I'm going to see if background works. I usually use background color, but I think background might work. So I'm going to, I know I should know that, but I'm so used to using background color that I'm not sure. So let's say the background color is blue. Okay. And let's say the font color, which is just color, font, let's say style color, equals something that contrasts with blue would be yellow. And if you have another color in mind, go ahead and do it. Okay? I'm going to actually test that, even though we're not done writing this function. I want to test that. So save that. Let's open our new file here. Okay, it worked good. But watch, when I click again, it doesn't do anything because we haven't written all the code. All right, so down here, we're going to say else if button state equals false. We need to do something else. What are we going to do? Well, button inner text equals, we got to go back to our sad face. I put 2 in there. Okay. And then let's change the color. Button background equals, that color was called salmon. Button color. Oh, I forgot style in here. Got to have style in there. Style. So it's button style background, and it's button style color. Button style color equals, what was it before? I think it was navy. And that is the end of our function. Save that and run it. Reload it, run it. I got 2 sad faces, so I need a happy face somewhere. Hold it, how do I get 2 sad faces? Okay, so I solved the problem, and hopefully you solved it before me. In fact, if you didn't, pause this and see if you can debug this. Okay, so it's very simple. See where I said button inner text? I forgot to capitalize text in both cases. So it reverted back to, it didn't change the original CSS here. I'm sorry, it didn't change this original HTML here. This just stayed the same. Save that. There we go. I mean, part of the reason I don't edit out these mistakes is you make mistakes all the time. And if I leave them in, it's good learning experience for you because it kind of shows you how I solve problems. I want to check something though. I'm going to change this back to the lowercase. Save that. And I'm going to view developer console. I'm going to see if we get a, oh, look how it squished that. I'm just going to see. Now, see, it doesn't give us an error message, so console log in that case would not have helped us. Okay, so that's lesson 22, your toggle button. Have fun with that. Change the colors, change the happy face text to something else. Change the font size, change the padding, change all that CSS. Play around with it. Have fun with it. By the way, when you're changing stuff, I always, if I'm going to mess around with something, I save it, and then before I start messing around, I save it as a new file with a different name. And then I start messing around. And then if I goof up and forget what the original file was, then I can always go back to it. Okay? Have fun. See you next time.